Hi, it's Kristen. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to make a DIY face mask with filter, pocket, and nose wire. Notice that this is the second video that I've made sharing how to do a DIY mask. The reason for that is because I was asked to make a tutorial that included a nose wire so that way it could get a tighter fit around the face. I also have a short list of frequently asked questions from the previous video that I made, so I'm going to go ahead and address those now. I know a lot of people like to skip the intros and videos and get right to the tutorial, but if you just listen to this short little intro here, I'm going to get right into the frequently asked questions, and it may help with any questions that you may have while watching the tutorial. If you've watched my other video and you're just here to learn how to put the face wire in the mask, I'm going to put the timestamp down here for you, one of these sides, so you can fast forward to the part where I'm putting the nose wire in. Before we get into it, I did just want to say that this is not a replacement for the N95 masks that the CDC recommends. I'm not making any claims as to the effectiveness of these masks. And if you have any questions or concerns, you should always just check out the CDC website for the most up-to-date information. I'll put a link to it in the description box below. And if you're interested in this video to make masks for hospitals, I encourage you to reach out to them first and find out what their guidelines are. I made this pattern based on the information I was given from an ICU nurse at our local hospital and what they're looking for. But every hospital is different, so I encourage you to just reach out to them and make sure that they're even accepting mask donations at this point, and if they are, what are the guidelines and standards and things that need to be met. So let's jump right into the frequently asked questions. The number one question that I was asked in my last video was filters. Where do I find the filter? What type of filter? And so the answer to that is in the link below. I'll have a couple filter options that I found on Amazon. I've also read that you can use HEPA filters, which is like an air filter from your house, but it has to say HEPA on it. You can take it apart and cut out pieces to put in the mask. I've heard of people using HEPA vacuum bags. Maybe just Google it. I just know where to find the pre-made filters for the masks. I don't know all about taking the filters apart and all of that stuff, so if you just want to Google that, you're welcome to do that, but I'll link the filters that I have found below. The next question that I got a lot was, what are the sizes for a child's mask? So I just got finished filming a tutorial teaching how to make a child's mask. I'm going to be editing that along with this one today, and I hope to get them both up this evening. So when you're watching this video, there probably will already be a child's mask tutorial. I'll link it up in the cards and then down in the description box below as well. Another question I got a lot was about the filter pocket, and I wanted to share with you that it's fully adjustable. So depending on what you want to put in there, if it's something that's smaller that you can kind of roll up and tuck inside and then have it expand in the mask, then you can make the hole smaller. But if the filter is larger or a little bit more rigid, you might need to expand the filter pocket so you just wouldn't sew as far in. Keep that pocket nice and large so you could slide in a filter that way. Last question I got a lot was about the nylon headbands that I used in place of elastic. The reason for that was because the elastic is sold out everywhere. If it's back in stock on Amazon, I'll make sure to link it down below. But I found that the nylon headbands are really soft, really stretchy, and super easy to tie in knots to get a tighter fit if someone has like a smaller face, so it just makes it more adjustable. I'll link those down below as well. They're very inexpensive and easy to find. Alright, so I think that covers everything. Let's just get right into the tutorial on how to make a face mask with a filter pocket and nose wire. Supplies you will need for this video is 100% cotton fabric. You'll need some pins, a needle and thread, these stretchy nylon headbands, or elastic if you can find it, something to measure with, a sewing machine, scissors, and pipe cleaner. Then you're going to cut a rectangle that is 15 inches long by 8.5 inches wide. Next, we're going to fold our fabric in half, and we're going to use pins to mark the spot where our filter pocket is going to be. So as I said in the beginning, this is fully adjustable, so depending on the size of the filter that you want to put in here, you can shrink it or make it larger. So you could put your pins out wider than 3 fingers like I'm showing. It just depends on what you're looking for. The next thing is to sew a straight stitch down the edge toward those pins, and once you get to the pin, just remove it, and then you're going to want to back stitch right there just to reinforce the seam. Forever. And then just repeat the same thing on the other side, doing your straight stitch right towards that pin. Remove the pin when you get near it, and then do back stitching to reinforce. Next, we're going to move the spot where we just sewed the pocket to the middle of our mask, just like so. I'm going to fold down these edges and just iron it very quickly just to kind of make it look a little bit nicer. Next, you'll need to cut your nylon into 6-inch strips. Don't you know that I would, 'cause I'm just loving this moment. And get your needle and thread ready just by tying a knot at the end of your thread, because we are going to stitch these nylon strips right into the corner of our mask. You could just pin these on and then sew them in with your sewing machine, but because they're stretchy, I find them just a little bit more difficult to work with than the elastic, just because of the material that they are. So I like to do just a simple stitch right down the top there, just to make sure all the parts are fully attached, and then of course I'll reinforce it with my sewing machine when I sew down the sides. Just loving this moment, can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment, can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would, 'cause I'm just loving this moment, can we stay here forever? Forever, forever, forever. And we're just going to repeat the same step on the other side. So I'm tying a knot at the end of the thread. I'm going to make sure that the elastic hasn't rotated or anything. Make sure it's all facing the same direction. And then I also like to just check and make sure that that one got sewed on really well before I move on. Then we're just going to attach it to the other end and repeat the same process for the other side.
Stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready? Let me be honest, I don't know a single thing that I haven't done to make you notice me. Let me be real here. When I see you, my heart starts racing, but I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me.
Make sure you tuck the nylon straps inside of the mask, and then we're just going to sew a straight stitch from top to bottom on either side, right down the edge.
Oh, no, no. I don't know what I could say to convince you to hang around when you don't have to.
Once that's done, it's time to turn our mask inside out, and you can do that by using the filter pocket. I also like to grab a pencil to poke out the corners just to make it look a little bit neater.
But I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me.
Next, it's time to make the pleats, and we're going to do that by just marking with a pencil 3 lines across the fabric, equal widths apart. Go ahead and iron it flat. It just makes the fabric a little easier to work with. And we're going to get started on the pleats. So you're going to use those lines that you marked across your fabric and make the pleat right, have that line go right through the center of the pleat. Grab the edges, fold it over. We're going to use our iron to keep things in place while we're working before we get over to our sewing machine to sew down the edges. So don't be intimidated by the pleats. Just try to make them as even as you can and it'll turn out right. Now it's time to head back over to the sewing machine. We're going to run a straight stitch right down the sides to hold the pleats in place.
I need somebody. I need somebody. Give me somebody. Give me somebody. Somebody to love.
you'll need 4 inches of a pipe cleaner, and this is going to be our nose wire. I'm going to go ahead and tuck in the edges here just to keep anything sharp from sticking out. We don't want that, so just tuck those edges in. We're going to slide this right into the filter pocket up to the top of the mask. So make sure that you're doing this where the outer part of the mask has the pleats facing down. So that's how you want to put this in. Make sure that is the top of the mask. You don't want the pleats facing up where they could catch particles. So once you have the pipe cleaner up in there, just make sure that it's nice and centered and pressed very firmly against the top of the mask. Then we're gonna run a stitch down all sides to kind of trap the pipe cleaner in there. And just be very careful while you're doing this. Make sure that your needle does not go across the metal part of the pipe cleaner. Just make sure you keep it on the other side of it so you don't break a needle. See how I ran the stitch down and then across? That keeps the pipe cleaner from moving around in there, keeps everything nice and secure. So that's it. Now you have a mask with the nice pleats, a nose wire on the top, as well as a filter pocket on the back. The nylon is nice and soft and stretchy and can be tied very easily to make it fully adjustable. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope it was helpful to you. I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down there. I love to hear from you guys, and I try to respond to every single one. Again, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.